welcome everybody. We have Alvaro Garcia from BYD here. He's going to introduce us to their low voltage and high voltage storage solutions.
Thank you very much. Oh, I can hear myself very well. I guess you hear too. Okay, well, thank you for coming. I'm hoping that all you guys will be able to bring in more of the audience from the halls, or hopefully the BYD battery box itself will be attractive enough. So today we're going to talk about the battery box, which is the off-the-shelf battery solution from BYD. Off-the-shelf being a battery on the DC side combined with the off-the-shelf inverters. You can have, we call the battery for every application. So when I say for every application, the batteries that can be used for the classic application of off-grid. We have here an example, an off-grid sustainable bar here in Germany, or of course the commercial and industrial, which we know is it's an area of the industry that was growing significantly in the recent years, and the classic, of course, residential. Seeing here the high voltage battery that was released last year. So here in Germany, probably you'll be quite familiar with the most popular product, the BYD high voltage, which is really a medium voltage battery ranging from 200 volts up to 450 volts, and these achieved by putting modules in series. Therefore, it was one of the first direct high voltage battery, and I will get more to it later to explain why this is a significant feature of the product. On the low voltage side, also in residential, we have the LV module. These are 3.5 kilowatt-hour modules, each of them 51.2 volts, and you can combine it up to 42 kilowatt-hours. Both of these units are focused on residential, on-grid, and backup. And then we have our earliest of the family members of the battery box, the Pro, both on the 2.5 and the 13.8 module. These probably are the most flexible units, ranging from 2.56 kilowatt-hours up to 442 kilowatt-hours in blocks of either 2.5 or a 13.8. All of them off-the-shelf batteries, so they're ready in stock to be connected to off-the-shelf inverters. So to get started about BYD, how many of you have heard of BYD before? This is an incredible shift, because probably only about a year ago, when I said that, people used to look at me with that face. So it's great. At least I have to thank Krannich and our partners here for doing such a great job of promoting our brand, because we were completely unknown just a couple of years ago. So thank you very much. So BYD, besides the battery business, so it started in 1995 with just 20 members coming from the National Battery Center from Beijing, and at that time it was focused on the portable devices, mobile phones, etc. Even doing the whole device, there was a time that 30% of everything that Nokia sold around the world was produced in the BYD battery. From there, in 2003, they acquired a bankrupt car manufacturer from the middle of China, and they combined their electrical expertise with the manufacturing capabilities of this manufacturer to create the BYD Auto brand, which has grown to become, 4 years running, the largest manufacturer of electric vehicles in the world. Then in 2008, we start to realize the true vision of the world of zero emissions that BYD had, whereas the new energy division. Over here, BYD is capable of producing solar panels and storage systems, both including batteries and inverters for utility scale. And since 2016, we started with the SkyRail, which is a mass transportation system, especially focused on fast developing economies, because it can be constructed much faster than regular rail or underground systems. So this is the vision of BYD, the world of zero emissions. And in order to be able to create a world of zero emissions, BYD had to be able to provide all the components for this world of zero emissions, starting from generation of the energy, the storage, to finally being used in a sustainable way. So that's why BYD has to be capable of producing components in all three of those areas. And in order to do so, we should understand there are plenty of challenges both on the development side and on the supply side. BYD has the full vertical integration from raw materials. So when you look at the BYD map of manufacturing, you realize that most of the factories are in the coast, which most of the manufacturers are. But then we do have our largest factory is actually in the middle of China. The reason why it's over there is because it's been set up right next to the Qinghai Lithium Lake. The Qinghai Lithium Lake, which is part property of BYD, actually represents 10% of the lithium reserves in the world. And it's right next to the BYD factory. So to give you another idea of the vertical integration, in all this area of the R&D, so up to the cell R&D, BYD has 1,600 engineers. So it gives you a bit of a explanation of this, the need for scale. The need, why is it important for BYD to stay as the largest or one of the largest manufacturers, with the amount of investment in R&D and in manufacturing necessary. And something that is on the other end of the spectrum, something that is very important in Europe, but we expect that will be very important all over the world, recycling. So right now, every cell manufacturing factory of BYD has recycling facilities, and we do take responsibility over the recycling, even in areas that we don't have manufacturing ourselves. So here we see BYD as the world's largest manufacturer of lithium-ion batteries, and we do see a number of companies that you probably recognize. What this graph shows is, if you take a look probably at the names 5 years before this one and 5 years later, will be very, very similar to the ones you see over here. So because the requirement for investment, the barriers of entry to this sector are enormous. And the other important factor to see in this ranking is that out of all the top manufacturers, BYD is the only one providing lithium iron phosphate batteries. And we'll get to the explanation of why lithium iron phosphate is so important for stationary applications. And the reason why everybody else is not offering this is because they are focused on the electric vehicles, which most of them require higher energy density, and that's why they need to use nickel, cobalt, manganese, which is a chemistry that also BYD offers, but I'll explain you later why we don't use it for energy storage. So I've touched a little bit over the electric vehicle segment. So these numbers are from 2016. We actually got recently the numbers of 2018. Again, BYD has been #1 in the world of electric cars and electric buses and forklifts, etc. So electric buses, if any of you visit London regularly, you'll see that all the single-decker electric buses in London are from BYD. So every day, every year, we're getting more and more electric buses around London. I do live over there, so every day I see new lines having a new BYD one, and we actually have 5 double-decker electric buses. The reason why there's only 5 of those is simply because the former mayor of London, Boris Johnson, said that it was impossible to create an electric double-decker bus. So to make it coincide with the visit of Xi Jinping to London, they built 5 and delivered to London to prove, and they are still running from the centre to the north of London. And the Skyrail, I'll just touch briefly upon it. It's a very interesting product for fast developing economies because it can be built really fast and very cheaply compared with other large infrastructure projects such as underground or subway. So especially from a democratic point of view, it's great that they can be built in the same period of 4 years, so you can really demonstrate that you've done something and get re-elected. So BYD is a company. So as I mentioned before, it started in 1995 with about 20 engineers of the National Battery Center to grow up to what we have today, over 220,000 employees and over $22 billion of revenue. And I mentioned one of the significant milestones in the history of BYD is that in 2008, Warren Buffett invested over $200 million to acquire about 8% of BYD, which recently he spoke about and said it was one of the investments that he felt most proud of. And scale. So as I was mentioning before, you're looking at the map of manufacturing. Most of the factories on the coast, and then the one in Qinghai, right next to the Qinghai Lake. And you see the growth in scale. Important to mention that this is something that it is necessary to maintain the competitiveness in the sector. It is critical to stay as one of the largest because every single cell production line has to be fully automatized. So you can imagine the amount of investment necessary to be able to produce cells at about one cell every 2 seconds over there in the production line. So every single step from the raw material up to the cells finished is fully automatized, which is critical for cost and for performance point of view, absolutely for quality point of view. And this is I'll explain the benefit of this also for the battery box, because by using the same production line, the same cells, the cells that we use for the battery box are actually automotive level of quality. And these cells had been used for all sorts of applications. Some of you might recognize this plant in the top. This is Clay Hill Farm, which was the first subsidy-free plant in the solar plant in the UK, which uses both BYD panels and BYD storage containers. Also in energy storage, we have the battery box, and then on the other side, the experience we have been feeding into our feedback loop of electric vehicles, from the regular passenger vehicles to the most popular taxi and bus fleets that you probably see all over Europe, such as in Belgium, Holland, London, etc. So what are the implications of having the BYD brand, the BYD organization behind the battery box? Of course, the quality and price associated with the scale of investments into the production and the R&D of BYD. The warranty, of course, the fact that it's not only what you put in the text in the warranty, but also the organization behind it to make sure that it will be here whenever you have to request any kind of warranty application. And finally, 3 green dreams. The fact that BYD's vision, or the Wall of Zero emission, means that for all of you that you believe in the same vision, our products and services will be aligned with your goals going forward. So the chemistry. As I say, BYD does produce both nickel, cobalt, manganese, and lithium iron phosphate, but I want to explain why we use lithium iron phosphate as a key of the chemistry for stationary applications. So first one, thermal stability. So lithium iron phosphate was created, so lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, was created for its highest thermal stability. This thermal stability, on the first hand, it means safety. So it's a kind of chemistry that cannot lit on fire or have an explosion. This is something you will be able to take a look at YouTube videos. You'll see all these people comparing, piercing a hole through a mobile phone, comparing that with piercing through a LFP battery. You'll see that in the case of an LFP battery, it gains volume, releases some water vapor, and that's it. There's no risk for your clients, and more importantly, it doesn't require any kind of special restrictions in terms of where in the house you're going to put it, where in the business you're going to put it, or the temperature restrictions are not going to affect the warranty of your clients. Second one, well, the fact that it has a much higher thermal stability, it will translate, I'll explain later, on how long the life, and it allows the system to work through a much higher power rating, because there's no concerns about overheating of the batteries. And all the batteries coming out of the production line in every single batch have to go through all these abusive tests, both crushing, piercing, cold weather, hot weather, because this is what is required by the ISO TS that the automotive production line requires. So the benefits of the LFP battery: safety, and thanks to the fact that it doesn't overheat, the high power that is allowed, and long lifetime. I will show you later some third party and the reports that show that actually the BYD battery box is the #1 battery in the market regarding degradation. And finally, the natural cooling and environmental friendliness. The environmental friendliness is something that is critical, because we're starting to see that in many areas of the world, due to the differences in chemistry and the difference in content, the fact that the LFP batteries contain very commonly used elements are being preferred, and in some cases specified for projects, especially when they are related to the government, because of the environmental impact of the end of life of LFP batteries. So we're going to start now talking about the battery box itself. So one of the main features of the battery box is its flexibility from a capacity point of view. So as we mentioned before, it starts from really small, 2.5, up to the very large 442 kilowatt hour. The second level of flexibility is the kind of applications. You have single phase, 3-phase, on-grid, off-grid, backup. Then the high level of power will be one of the highest C rates, if not the highest C rates in the market as a nominal. So no need for a special product to be operating at 1C. or even surges of 2C when in the cases of off-grid. And one very important feature, and something that we always recommend our clients highlighting because it's a great selling point, is the fact that you can expand at any time of the life of the battery. Thanks to this, if your client has a doubt about how much capacity should they put, start small. Even if it's off-grid and you already have a generator, start small. See your data, observe your data, look at how much you spend in fuel or how much you are actually still exporting and importing, and use that data to add batteries later on. And it can be done at any time of the life of the battery. So years later, and you will not lose capacity when it's the case of the parallel connection. So the LV that are connected in parallel, it will not lose any capacity. But be mindful that when you connect them in series, so the high voltage, when you add another one, the capacity of the new module will be the same as the capacity of the old modules. And finally, the flexibility on the different applications. One of the main reasons why we decided to do the off-the-shelf battery, just on the battery on its own, was because of the whole flexibility, all the range of options of power, applications, functions, monitoring that all these different brands provide us. And we only choose to work with what we consider the top brands. And we do want to support them become top players also in the storage market. And environment, we spoke about temperature. Thanks to the LFP battery, gives you a very large range of application, not only on paper, but actually I want to show you down here. The same batteries that we use for the battery box are being used in the buses in Shenzhen, which we have checked that they are consistently operating above 40 degrees, and the buses in Oslo, which are constantly working close to 0 degrees. So summarizing, this is a battery that offers you an easy installation, easy expansion. It is powerful, especially in the cases of that you need higher surge of power, you need a high backup power. It's easier combinations. All the inverters that we've shown you before have been tested extensively with our battery to have a seamless integration. And finally, a robust chemistry and robust product development. So more attributes. This is where it probably will get a bit more interesting when you're trying to when you're explaining this to your clients. Of course, first, the highest safety standards. So the battery box not only fulfills all the minimum requirements to sell batteries here in Europe, but also it fulfills the TÜV Home Energy Safety Guidelines, which is a voluntary safety guideline, which is right now the highest in the market. And every time the new standard is being developed, we are working on voluntarily fulfill those requirements. The easy installation and transportation. This is something that we really focus, especially as we've been developing new products, as it's tailored then to the different markets. We wanted to make sure that it was specifically designed to simplify the installation. Having this product with no cables, the very simple connections to the inverter, etc. And finally, the highest performance, and that's where I want to get to a bit deeper. So some of you might have seen from last year that HCW Berlin, one of the most reputable institutions in the renewable energy sector, made a test of all the major brands in the market offering energy storage systems, and they wanted to develop a universal value of efficiency, because each one of us can really put whatever number we want in their data sheet, and it was very difficult to compare one-to-one. So they created this measurement, which was the real savings of a real system divided by the maximum savings by an ideal 100% efficiency system. And in that test, the BYD combined with the Costal Core came up on top with the highest efficiency in the market. And the second point that we're really proud of, these are tests that the Australian government had funded in the Canberra Battery Centre, and it's something that we're not even aware of. They just acquired a battery from one of our customers. We did not even know they were doing this test, and about a year and a half later, the test results came up, and BYD came up on top as the battery the battery that has the lowest degradation inside the climatic conditions of Australia. So this is a test that is being done hot weather, cold weather, hot weather, cold weather continuously. So summarizing, what you get with the battery box first is all the support of the organization of BYD. You're getting the right chemistry for the stationary applications. You're having the flexibility of the format of the products, and finally the the warranty and the longest life, longest performance, or greatest performance in the sector. So I will not get too much detail into the technicals. I understand there's not a technical training. I just want to say, if you do have interest to get deeper understanding of the product, please go to our website where we have all the manuals, all the quick installation guides, and we even have links to videos and webinars where you can learn more about the product. I can give you the business card later with the website. So now I would like to finish with a bit of inspiration. I do want to share a bit of real cases to give you a bit of ideas where can you and your clients apply the battery box test. I've come back to the off-grid bar. I have seen off-grid ice cream bans. For example, recently in London it's becoming forbidden to have your ice cream ban with the engine on. So suddenly from nothing, all the ice cream bans will probably have to have batteries in them. Other applications, the classic off-grid. This is a charity in the middle, close to Wales, and that uses horses as a therapy, and they actually had the grid connection over there, but they were charging them so much to just connect to the grid that for less money they actually have become fully independent, and that's something that we're going to see probably more and more as grids become constraints. This is an application in Uganda. It was actually a German customer integrated this in Germany and sent it to Uganda. We'll see more and more of this, especially as the World Bank and the European Union and put in funding to support remote communities in Africa. Then here, commercial applications here in Europe. And this is a case that I really want to talk about because it was a case in Germany. It was a community of neighbors that they were about to install solar smart charging for their cars, and they discussed with the local network operator, and they said, fantastic, we'll do this for you, and the upgrade is going to cost you this much. It was, as usual, an outrageous amount. They say, don't worry, leave it as it is. We'll install our storage system, and any time that the power is going to exceed what we have hired minus our safety margin, we'll use our batteries. So they're not only not paying for the upgrade, they're actually saving significantly on electricity. And we'll see this more and more as we see as we see car charging popping up all over the world. And this is probably our largest commercial system. This was installed in Brazil. Like one of the largest system. That also the same setup was used for the United Nations in powering the offices in Afghanistan. And of course, this is the most common application here in Germany. We'll see more and more customers around Germany having especially the battery box LV installed. So thank you very much. And well, let me know if you have any questions, or we can also talk later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alvaro.
Thank you.
So our next presentation will be from Costa Solar Electric at 4 p.m. The presentation will be held in the German language.
Thank you.